If you want to understand why some seniors stay sharp into their 80s while others fade in their 60s, don't look at their genetics. Look at how they have trained their brains. Most people think dementia risk is written in your DNA, and that crossword puzzles are the best way to protect your mind. But after 17 years in internal medicine, I have discovered something that contradicts everything we were taught. A specific type of brain training, taking just 10 hours total, can actually rewire your neural pathways and lower your dementia risk by nearly 30%. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact 10-hour protocol proven in the largest cognitive training study ever conducted and how you can start it this week to erase up to 2 decades of dementia risk. Hi, I'm Dr. Miller. This channel is dedicated to providing evidence-based health guidance to help you take control of your well-being. If you find this valuable, please subscribe right now to help this message reach more people who desperately need it. Right now, as you are watching this video, your brain is undergoing microscopic changes. This is normal biology. With every passing year, neural connections weaken slightly, processing speed gradually decreases. The brain's white matter, the highways that carry signals between regions, develops small areas of reduced integrity. This happens to everyone. It is happening to me. It is happening to you. Here is what most people don't know. Your brain has 3 defense systems that determine whether these microscopic changes lead to dementia or whether you stay sharp well into your 80s and beyond. The first is neuroplasticity maintenance. Your brain's ability to form new connections, strengthen existing ones, and adapt to changing demands. Think of it like a road system. When one road becomes damaged, traffic can reroute through alternate streets. But if the alternate routes don't exist or are poorly maintained, traffic jams occur. In your brain, that means cognitive slowdown. The second is cerebral blood flow optimization. Your brain consumes 20% of your body's oxygen despite being only 2% of your body weight. Every thought, every memory, every decision requires blood delivering oxygen and nutrients. Reduced blood flow, common with aging, starves neurons and accelerates decline. The third is cognitive reserve building. This is your brain's buffer zone. People with more cognitive reserve can sustain more brain changes before showing symptoms. It is like having savings in the bank. You can weather financial storms. Without reserve, any stressor pushes you into deficit. Here is why modern life breaks these systems. We outsource our thinking to smartphones. We passively consume entertainment instead of actively engaging our minds. We confuse information consumption with cognitive exercise. Watching documentaries isn't brain training. Scrolling social media isn't building neural pathways. These activities are passive. They don't challenge the brain to adapt, to speed up, to rewire. The result is that by age 65, most adults have experienced measurable declines in processing speed. By 75, 1 in 9 has dementia. By 85, it is 1 in 3. But here is what gives me hope. The ACTIF study, the largest cognitive training trial ever conducted, proved these defense systems can be strengthened at any age, even in your 70s and 80s. Let me break down exactly what the ACTIV study found, because the data here is remarkable. The Advanced Cognitive Training for Independent and Vital Elderly study, called ACTIV, enrolled 2,802 healthy adults aged 65 and older. These were seniors living independently with no diagnosed cognitive impairment. Researchers randomly assigned them to one of 4 groups: memory training, reasoning training, speed of processing training, or a control group that received no training. Each training group received 10 hours of initial instruction spread over 5 to 6 weeks. Some groups also received booster sessions later, which were additional training at 11 months and 35 months. Here is what makes this study exceptional. Researchers followed these participants for 20 years. 20 years. This wasn't a short-term study measuring temporary improvements. They tracked who developed dementia, when they developed it, and how different types of training affected long-term outcomes. The results were published in multiple peer-reviewed journals, with the most recent 20-year follow-up published in February 2026. Let me tell you what they found. At the 10-year mark, participants who received speed of processing training had 29% lower incidence of dementia compared to the control group. Let me say that again. 29% lower risk from just 10 hours of training. But here is where it gets even more remarkable. At the 20-year follow-up, the results published just recently, researchers found that participants who completed speed training with booster sessions showed 25% lower dementia risk over 2 full decades. Think about that. A training intervention lasting roughly 15 hours total showed protective effects lasting 20 years. Wait until you hear about the type of training that worked, because this is critical. Speed of processing training is fundamentally different from memory games or crossword puzzles. The exercises require you to identify and locate visual information quickly, often in your peripheral vision, under increasing time pressure. You might see a car in the center of a screen and a truck in the periphery, then have just milliseconds to identify both before they disappear. As you improve, the exercises get harder, the timing gets tighter. The visual field expands. Your brain is forced to process information faster and more accurately. Here is why this matters neurologically. Speed of processing training targets something called useful field of view, the area from which you can extract visual information in a single glance without moving your head. Research shows this ability declines with age, and its decline predicts driving accidents, falls, and cognitive impairment. When you train this system, you are not just getting better at a computer game, you are strengthening neural pathways that affect real-world function. Brain imaging studies show that speed training increases white matter integrity in regions critical for attention and executive function. It literally improves the highways that carry information through your brain. Now, here is the crucial contrast. Memory training and reasoning training, the other two active interventions in the ACTI study, showed benefits for the specific skills trained. Memory training improved memory test scores. Reasoning training improved reasoning tasks, but neither showed the same dramatic dementia risk reduction as speed of processing training. Why did this happen? It is because speed training addresses a fundamental bottleneck. Processing speed underlies virtually every cognitive function. Memory encoding requires fast processing. Decision-making requires fast processing. Attention shifting requires fast processing. When you improve speed, you improve the foundation for everything else. A study from Johns Hopkins, analyzing the ACTI data, found something remarkable about the dose-response relationship. Each additional speed training session completed was associated with lower dementia risk. More training equaled more protection. This wasn't a threshold effect where you either got benefit or didn't. It was linear. Every session counted. Let me address the obvious question. Can't you get the same benefit from other activities like crossword puzzles, learning a language, or playing chess? Here's what the research shows. Cognitive activities that don't push speed don't show the same protective effect. Passive activities like watching documentaries or reading without recall demands show minimal benefit. Even active but untimed activities like traditional puzzles show weaker effects than speed-based training. The key is pushing your brain outside its comfort zone under time pressure. That is what triggers neural adaptation. That is what builds cognitive reserve. Think of it like physical exercise. Walking is good, but high-intensity interval training creates adaptations that walking doesn't. Similarly, cognitive exercise that challenges speed creates adaptations that untimed activities don't. The practical implication is profound. Dementia care costs average over $350,000 per person from diagnosis to death. Nursing home care averages $100,000 annually. The emotional toll on families is immeasurable. In contrast, the training program used in the ACTIV study is available commercially for about $15 per month. Some Medicare Advantage plans now cover cognitive training programs. This is prevention at a fraction of treatment cost. Now, let me be clear about limitations. This training is for prevention, not treatment. If you or a loved one already has diagnosed dementia, cognitive training has limited evidence for reversing established disease. It may help maintain function, but it is not a cure. And no intervention works for everyone. The study showed reduced risk at the population level, not guaranteed protection for every individual. But given the stakes, the question isn't whether this is worth trying. The question is, why isn't everyone over 65 doing it? Let's discuss the exact protocol based on the ACTI study research and what I recommend to patients concerned about cognitive decline. We should start with who should do this protocol. It is designed for adults aged 65 and older who are cognitively healthy or have mild concerns. It is also perfect for anyone with a family history of dementia who wants to build cognitive reserve, and even adults as young as 50 who want to start protection early. However, there are people who should not do this protocol without physician supervision. This includes anyone with diagnosed dementia, as cognitive training should be supervised and coordinated with treatment. It also includes anyone with significant vision problems that would prevent computer use, and anyone with severe anxiety that time-pressured tasks might worsen. Now, let me give you the exact protocol, starting with the 10-hour initial training. For your schedule, you will complete 5 one-hour sessions per week, which is a total of 5 hours in weeks 1 and 2. Then, you will do 3 one-hour sessions per week for weeks 3 through 5, adding another 5 hours. This brings the total to 10 hours over approximately 5 weeks. Each session should be performed on a computer or tablet with adequate screen size, because phone screens are simply too small for the visual field exercises. As for the training program itself, the specific software used in the ACTIB study is called Double Decision, and it is commercially available through BrainHQ, which is a platform developed by the researchers who conducted the ACTIB trial. BrainHQ offers over 24 exercises, but the speed of processing exercises specifically are what showed dementia protection. Here is how Double Decision works. A vehicle appears briefly in the center of your screen. Simultaneously, another vehicle appears in your peripheral vision. You must identify both, the center vehicle and the location of the peripheral vehicle, before they disappear. Initially, the display time is generous. As you improve, the display time shrinks, going from hundreds of milliseconds to tens of milliseconds. The peripheral object moves further into your visual field. The task demands more of your attention, faster processing, and broader awareness. In terms of cost and access, a BrainHQ subscription is approximately $15 a month or $96 a year. Fortunately, some Medicare Advantage plans cover it at no cost, and some libraries provide free access through community programs. We also need to discuss the booster sessions, which are critical for long-term protection. The ACTIB study showed that booster sessions amplified and extended protection. For the schedule, your first booster will be 4 additional hours at 11 months after your initial training. Your second booster will be 4 additional hours at 35 months, which is roughly 3 years after starting. Your total training investment comes out to 18 hours over 3 years for maximum protection. Now, let's talk about what to expect. Most people find the exercises challenging initially, but that is exactly the point. You should feel mentally stretched, sometimes frustrated, and occasionally you might fail. That struggle is where adaptation occurs. Processing speed improvements typically become noticeable within 2 to 3 weeks. Many people report feeling mentally sharper, quicker to react, and more aware of their surroundings. The real benefits, the dementia risk reduction, accrue over years. If cost is a barrier, there are alternative access points. You can contact your local area agency on aging, as many communities now offer free cognitive training programs for seniors. Some senior centers even have computer labs with BrainHQ access. The research showing benefit is too strong to let cost prevent you from trying this. There are also daily habits that strongly complement this training. While completing the protocol, you should also address your brain's other defense systems. First is aerobic exercise, where 30 minutes daily improves cerebral blood flow. Second is social engagement, because regular conversation challenges processing speed naturally. And third is sleep. Getting 7 to 8 hours allows your brain's cleaning systems to remove waste products. These aren't optional add-ons. They multiply the benefit of cognitive training. Here are my pro tips from 17 years of clinical practice for maximizing this protocol's effectiveness. Timing matters more than you might think. Your brain is sharpest in the morning for most people. Schedule your training sessions before noon if possible. Avoid training within 3 hours of bedtime. The cognitive stimulation can interfere with sleep, and sleep is exactly when your brain consolidates the adaptations you've built during the day. The biggest mistake I see is treating this like a chore to rush through. People try to complete sessions while watching television, checking emails, or talking on the phone. This defeats the purpose. Cognitive training requires focused attention. Multitasking during training reduces benefit dramatically. Give these exercises your undivided attention for 1 hour. That is less than 1% of your day. Consistency beats intensity every time. 10 hours spread evenly over 5 weeks works better than cramming sessions into a few days. Your brain needs recovery time between challenges to build lasting adaptations. This is the same principle as physical exercise, where daily moderate training outperforms occasional intense sessions. Don't get discouraged by plateaus. You will improve rapidly at first, then hit periods where progress seems to stall. This is normal. Push through. The plateaus often precede breakthrough improvements as your brain reorganizes at a deeper level. Track your progress. Brain HQ shows performance metrics over time. Watching your processing speed improve month after month is motivating, and it documents the benefit you're receiving. Many patients find that objective data helps them continue when motivation flags. Here is what we have covered today. Your cognitive future isn't determined by genetics alone. The ACTIve study proved that specific brain training can reduce dementia risk by up to 29%. Speed of processing training is the only type that showed significant protection in the largest cognitive training study ever conducted. The protocol requires just 10 hours initially, plus boosters, with effects lasting up to 20 years. The training is accessible through BrainHQ for approximately $15 monthly, with some Medicare plans covering it. For decades, we didn't have this level of actionable information on brain health. But we have it now, and you have it now. Your brain is changing at this very moment. The question isn't whether change is happening. The question is whether you are directing that change toward protection or decline. Every minute you spend on speed training is building neural highways that could carry you through your 80s with your mind intact. Every session is adding to the cognitive reserve that buffers against the microscopic changes of aging. If you found this information valuable, please subscribe and give this video a like. By joining this channel, you help support evidence-based health guidance for everyone. Share this with someone you love who needs to hear it, especially anyone over 65. I will see you in the next one.